What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got a different kind of video that doesn't fall under any of my traditional categories. Happy Friday the 13th, my friends. I am equipped here with my Jason Voorhees Crystal Lake shirt. It is Friday the 13th when I am shooting this and uploading this. I hope you guys are having an awesome, spooky Friday the 13th and watching a lot of Jason Voorhees marathons this weekend. I apologize for the fan in the background. It is way too hot in my kitchen as I record this, so the fan has to go so I can breathe. But I apologize for the background audio issues. If you guys want to see my franchise Friday the 13th rankings, where I rank every single Friday the 13th film from worst to best, I have that up on my channel. I posted it like 3 years ago. It was in 2016. So if you guys search franchise review Friday the 13th Styles Clash for Life, or if you go to my channel and scroll, you guys can find that video. Please watch my rankings from worst to best and give me your feedback. Which Friday the 13th do you guys like the best and which one do you hate the worst? But that is about all the old Friday the 13th movies, and as of right now, we know that there's the whole Victor Miller, Sean Cunningham lawsuit, trademark issues are still going through litigations. It's been a lengthy run through the courts. And as of right now, and as of a long time already, we are not getting any new Friday the 13th properties being released in theaters because we don't really know who owns the rights. So I thought about it, and I said, what can I do for this Friday the 13th, the only one we've had in 2019, that's a different kind of video that's not just rehashing and talking about the same old films that I've already talked about. So I decided to do a video today on this Jason Voorhees holiday about the ways that I would revive the Friday the 13th series. If I was to make another film, if I was going to make a fan film, or if I was going to run a major studio and make a brand new Friday the 13th film, what kind of film would I make? So I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I just wanted to briefly touch on 5 ways that I think would be interesting for the fans if I were to revive the Friday the 13th series, counting backwards from 5 to 1. I want to give you guys 5 kind of cool ideas that we could hopefully see in the future if these companies ever decide on trademarks and who owns the films. So number 5, I have a Mrs. Voorhees prequel. I'm not a big fan of prequels. I don't like remakes at all. Any kind of remake, reboot, reimagining, re-envisioning, I can't stand those. They're unoriginal, they change the lore, it's lame. Don't do remakes, don't do reboots. Hollywood, stop doing those, don't make those anymore. But if I was to do an original prequel where you could kind of add some things in and get some more character development and find out more about Jason through Mrs. Voorhees, I think it'd be kind of interesting. I wouldn't want to change too many things about his past, but I would want to delve more into Mrs. Voorhees being a cook at Camp Crystal Lake and her meeting Jason's father and how things went wrong in the relationship and how she became pregnant and how maybe she got chased away by the other camp workers and what happened with Jason and why he was born different and why he had disabilities and how it affected the mother, and really just kind of delve into the past of Mr. and Mrs. Voorhees and having Jason and how it affected Jason and everything that led up to her relationship with him and what happened before he drowned in the lake. I think, I'm not a big fan again of prequels, but I think if you're going to do a prequel and you're going to delve into all 3 of the family and kind of build on the family aspect and see Jason as a kid, what led up to him before he drowned, I think that would be very interesting and very fun to add to the stuff we already know. Number 4, I have one here called Millennials Aren't Afraid. That wouldn't be what I call it, but number 4, I think it'd be kind of cool to do a traditional camp slasher. We have not seen a traditional one of these in a long time because we had Jason Goes to Hell, then Jason X, then Freddy vs. Jason, then the remake. So we have not had a random new addition to the slasher franchise in a long time where it's just a fun, mindless, good time. What if there was a premise where a bunch of millennials who were kind of meta, who kind of like treated this like a horror movie, do it kind of a Wes Craven Scream style, where these kids went into Camp Crystal Lake and they thought of Jason as being kind of just an idea. He wasn't real, and all these news reports were all fake and whatever, and Jason's been dead for years or whatever, and they're not afraid of Jason. So these millennials that are self-entitled, preachy, bitchy, kind of self-aware, meta-style horror movie where they come in and trash the lake and they pee in Crystal Lake and they cut down some trees and they just deface and disrespect Jason's home because they aren't afraid anymore because Jason's been gone for so long. You could poke fun at the lawsuit. You could poke fun at the slasher genre. You could poke fun at the other franchises like Freddy and Michael Myers and stuff, saying those things aren't really around anymore. And you could kind of have a tongue-in-cheek 90s style sequel where Jason comes back somehow and just takes care of these millennials. It could talk about the way slashers are these days and all the CGI and how horror has progressed or regressed and how Jason's been dormant for so long, and just have this self-referential fun sequel where Jason just hacks apart these new teenagers, these new preachy millennials, and just has a good time bringing Jason back to his old stomping grounds. I think that would be a basic, easy, fun script to make. Number 3, Final Girls Asylum. I think that if we had a movie where every single final girl in the Friday the 13th franchise came back together, if we opened up and they were all in an asylum because no one believed their stories about Jason throughout the years, so all these final girls that have survived Jason have wound up being considered clinically insane, and they're all together in this insane asylum, all waiting for Jason's return because they know he's not dead, because they know about his history, and no one believes them, so they're considered insane. I think that having Tina and Jenny and Alice and all of the different final girls over the years banding together, waiting for Jason's return, and the world doesn't believe it, and all of a sudden Jason goes to finish the unfinished business and take care of all the final girls that he hasn't killed. I guess he already killed Alice, so she wouldn't be in it, but all the final girls that survived, he were to come back and try to finish what he started with them. And now you've got this super team of girls. Jason can go in the asylum and hack his way through the asylum and kill 30 people in this asylum and just destroy this whole place and burn it down and everything. And now you've got a bunch of fresh bodies for Jason to kill. And now you've got this asylum of final girls banding together for this super team of final girls, Jason's biggest nemesis, to get together and face off against Jason, like 7-on-1. I think it'd be a great time. Number 2, Tommy Jarvis Captor. I think this one would be really fun. What if Tommy Jarvis came back after all this time? Still, he's always been obsessed with Jason. He's always had a kinship to him. He feels like part of him is kind of the little awkward outsider like Jason was. And we saw him in part 4, 5, and 6, and they never finished off their rivalry. Neither one ever got killed for good. And Jason's always had this obsession with killing Tommy, and Tommy's always wanted to finish off Jason. So what if Tommy, over the years, realized Jason wasn't dead, takes Jason's body, ties him up like he did in part 7, and brings him along with him to go live in the woods now? Because Tommy's crazy and knows that he's always going to be tied to Jason and have to deal with those demons, but he doesn't want anybody else to be exposed to Jason. He doesn't want Jason to awaken again and kill a bunch of kids, so he tries to save them by going to capture Jason and keeping Jason hostage, like in his basement or something, while living far away in the woods. So now you've got this psychological breakdown of Tommy, who lives in the woods by himself, with Jason as his captor, making sure Jason doesn't come to life and waiting for Jason to reemerge after all these years. And now you've got this awkward relationship of Tommy trying to keep Jason captor and Jason trying to escape and finally kill Tommy. I think that would be a great character study, a deep, twisted movie that would involve the greatest protagonist in the series of all time, side by side with this Mongoloid who kind of has feelings in a way. So I think this would be a very cool, small cast that could eventually involve others. But I think that seeing Tommy's de-evolution and psychosis and his obsession with trying to stop Jason would be excellent. And number 1, this one's kind of obvious, but I had to include it. I love the idea. I would love to build on it. Elias Voorhees. We've heard Tom McLaughlin talk about, at the end of part 6, he wanted to make the caretaker of the graveyard Elias Voorhees, Jason's father. We never got to see that version come out. We've seen Elias Voorhees be released in the comics, and they've talked about Jason's father in the comics to some extent. We've heard them talk about Jason's father on the tapes for Friday the 13th, the game, for Xbox One and PS4. But we've never seen Elias Voorhees actually come to life in the movies. Jason's father was never really discussed in movie form at all. We know that Pam Voorhees had a relationship with somebody down the line. We don't know much about him. I think learning about Elias's history, or whatever you want to call him, Mr. Voorhees, learning about what he does, what his reaction was when Jason was born, what his reaction was when he found out Jason was going to be different, why he ran away, how long has he been watching Jason from the shadows, is he also crazy, is he also a killer, did he watch Jason get killed at some point in one of the previous movies, How does he, maybe he rescues Jason's dead body from one of the movies, the last movie, and takes him into his personal cabin and cares for Jason and nurtures Jason back to health, and either tries to cure Jason or make Jason kill again. There's all kind of psychological things you could do with Jason's father being in his life for the first time, and how that would fuel Jason one way or the other. So those are my 5 kind of brief ideas. I didn't want to get too far into it. I didn't want to write anything for it. I just wanted to give you 5 really cool directions the franchise should turn to if they decide to ever re-emerge and make brand new Friday the 13th movies. What do you think of my ideas? And would you like to see more creative videos like this? I'm a writer and director. I write books and novels. So this is my kind of thing. I enjoy creating new content and new ideas for these major franchises. Do you guys want to see more of these? And which one of these ideas did you like best? And give me some of your ideas that I might not have thought of in the comments below. And if you like these, tell me, and I'll do more of these for other franchises. I'll talk to you guys soon, guys. Happy Friday the 13th. Happy Jason Voorhees. Jason lives.